Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes.
October 1st. We smash it 10 yards tonight. The buck we call Pickles. A south wind pushing us back to the zag.
Got her stand on our backs.
Set it out and see what happens. You on it?
Alright.
Got the air going out of me.
Absolutely drilled him.
And boom, he's that good buck.
Go get my buck, then we're gonna go get homie's buck.
Urban piece as hell.
Got him. Pickles is dead.
Kevin Gates, both kills on hanging hunts.
My first public land buck.
Nice work, dude.
Look at that. Triple brow on the right.
I'm digging that.
Bucked out October 28th. An absolutely incredible season.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast. Coming in your ear holes, and yet again, I just cannot do it quite like High Fence. However, on this podcast, we are going to be throwing you guys another curveball. Very excited to talk about what we're going to cover. I don't think it's ever been talked about on a podcast, and it is high fence hunting with High Fence Jenkins. No, just kidding with you guys, but we are going to talk with Cody about some things, just like we let me discuss some topics about hunting last week, and kind of get to know us a little bit better, and kind of how we're thinking and moving forward with our hunting styles and things that we're picking up on here. So before we do that, we're going to get into the people that make this possible, and then we'll get into our guest. Starting off with Lathbreast TV, we are going to be putting these podcasts back on their YouTube channel, and those are going to be rolling out. And for them guys doing that for us, they have shared their codes for Outdoor Edge and Underwarmer with us, and I'm going to link that in the show notes below. Exodus trail cameras. I've said this a couple times before, but I just want to reiterate it again. The one thing with their cell cam is that you can share data among multiple cameras, and I like that because it keeps the cost down. You already bought the camera, and you're already buying the line fee, so why would you want to pay for that camera to have its own data plan? I really like that you can share among multiple cameras, and there have been a couple times where I've had to put in a couple spots where you're going to get some blanks, you're going to get some sun pics, especially in the late summer, and the overcharge, I mean, I don't know how many pics if it's over, but I mean, you're getting the notifications too, Cody, like, I mean, a shitload of pictures, and the charge is like $3.28 for all them extra pictures. So I've never upped it over 50 megs, and I'm running 3 cameras on it. So very cost effective, and all their cameras are backed by that 5-year no BS warranty. Moving right in here to Right On Optics. I was over at Cody's house a couple weeks ago and picked up 2 of the scopes, and one of them I'm going to use for sure. The other one I'm up in the air about, and just looking through their scopes, you can tell that they've got some high quality glass inside there. Like, you know, when you pick up a higher end or a more expensive pair of sunglasses, like, you can almost feel like you see better, and you can tell the difference between that or a pair you're going to get at Walmart. And it's the same thing with their scopes. Is when you look down there, like, it almost makes you see clearer down range, obviously with the scope, but you can just tell that glass is high end and very crisp image. Their product is also backed by a lifetime warranty. And then finishing up there, we do have a new Badlands code for this year that we are sharing with you guys. Just hit us up on any social page, and we'll get back to you there momentarily. So, getting into this week's episode here, we got High Fence Jenkins, or better known as Cody. How you doing tonight, man?
Good, doing good. I've been waiting to get on this podcast a long time.
I know.
I'm trying to get on your guest list forever.
I'm glad to see you dress appropriate. You know, gun guy, gun hunter shirt. I mean, you're just nailing it on the head right here.
Yeah, I got out of the shower and I opened the drawer and I was like, Perfect. Right on top.
Gotta
Wife
do
just
it.
fold it and put it in there.
Gotta do it.
Meant to be.
Oh, so why don't you just kind of give a little brief introduction here about kind of how you got started hunting and what you do and where you're at now.
Well, I'm Cody Jenkins, or High Fence Jenkins. Reason I have that nickname is I shot a giant and had very well-known people in the industry ask if it was high fence or not. They weren't going to associate it if it was high fence, which I thought was weird because a lot of them, I don't know, it doesn't look high fence to me.
Yeah,
it's the
dark as
darkest
hell.
stuff I've ever seen, and the rumor got started that it was high fence, and it kind of stuck, and then the name kind of stuck as a joke, and then I made my Instagram that. But anyways, yeah, Cody Jenkins. Just turned 30 a couple months ago. 3 kids, 1 on the way. Wife. Got about 4 good friends. Homie's one of them. Nick Brown's one of them. There's some solid friends, but I'll say like good friends that I actually talk to. Pretty low key, hang out by myself with my kids a lot. Started hunting when I was young. Killed my first deer with a bow at 16. Killed a bunch with a rifle and a single shot slug gun before that. One thing I haven't said on here is I have passed a shitload of deer and let other people kill them when I was younger that hadn't killed nice deer yet. I had really good ground that I had figured out. And I remember the guy was like, "Are you sure you want me to shoot it?" I was like, yeah. It was the preacher's son. His name was James. Can't remember his last name. And it was just like a basic 8-point frame, nothing crazy. And I was like, yeah, go ahead, man. Got up there and it had like a 3.5-inch drop time.
Oh.
I was like, of course, man. I've never shot a drop time before, and it's just got like a little 3.5-inch kicker, like way back on the main beam. I'm like, of course, wasn't a giant deer by any means, but shot one of the bucks that I shot solo by myself with another guy. Got permission on this property and wasn't seeing a lot of deer. We did a big loop and we were walking. It was rifle season. And this was my roommate at the time. So I was probably 16 or 17. And really good dude named Matt. And he had never shot a deer before at all. And we went up to this. It was hot out. So I was like, okay, there's only water on this place is in one spot. Let's do a big loop coming downwind on this water, glass it, and see what we can do. And there's some does bedded kind of by some cedar trees on the backside of this pond dam. And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot one of those does." I'm like, "No, dude." I said, "There's a giant. There's a really good buck up there." And we belly crawled on that deer into like 150 yards and shot him. And that deer ran right at us, died like 75 yards away. And that was the last deer I shot off that property, though. We shot it, and then the landowner was like, "Well,
there
I was like, "Yeah, that's how it goes." But that established me into wanting to chase bigger deer. Once you see a couple get down, you want to. And the guy who owned the bait shop, there was not very many big deer. I didn't see a lot of big deer when I was growing up. Like a 120 was a stud, and he came up there. My dad owned like 15 acres behind my house. And it was weird because there's a cattle farm and it's completely surrounded by grass. And it was like a long ways away from timber. It was this hay ground and pasture ground for cows. And I had, back there when I was a kid, I had been back there building forts, BB guns and stuff and 4-wheelers, and never really seen any deer sign back there. And he asked my dad if he could hunt back there. And he was like, yeah. So I'm up at the house watching him, and he's got his like Suburban parked up on the opposite hillside with the doors open, just watching this timber, and shoots an absolute giant that he must have seen running there with a doe or something. And after that, that's when I was like, okay, there's big deer here. And I started holding out for bigger deer. Once you see a couple on the ground, you kind of decide that that's that's what you want to do. I didn't really think it was an option where I was at, and then killed a really good one with my grandpa with a rifle when I was probably 17. That was like the really first really, really good one that I killed. And then from there just transitioned in. But before that, there was a shitload of does. I missed a spike buck one year and devastated me. Like, I mean, you just think all the stuff that you did, but that's a little bit about me, and been hunting deer's what I like to do. I'll chase turkeys and other stuff, but deer really excites me. And I really like rabbit hunting too, but it's kind of with dogs, but it's kind of a lost art. And now that I have kids, I can't run dogs and have kids. It's a very, very time consuming. To have good dogs, you got to run them a lot. And I got Nick Brown's finally got a good one now. I'm really hoping that he gets it nailed down and I can take my kids just to experience some rabbit hunting. Cause that is one of the best things to make you be ready for the moment. Cause you're standing there waiting, and then you see that sucker hopping, and you got to decide, like, okay, when am I going to take the shot? Am I going to let it get closer? Is it going to back off? And rabbits will run a circle. So you just stage up and they run right past you. And then the dogs are going to be like 300 yards around. And then a lot of times, if they can't hold up, if you miss the first time, you might get a second go. So you get a lot of kill shot moments where shit's moving and trying to make stuff happen. And I had a beagle dog, and when I was single, and I used to get a 6-pack of deer and run the beagle dog. That was like my night when I was 18, 19, 20. Like when I wasn't pipeline, when I was back home, it was just like, okay, let's drop the tailgate and drink a few and watch the dog run rabbits. And then she'd get tired and come back. I'm like, load up,
Mm-hmm.
But
all right. Well, when you kind of sent me these topics that you wanted to talk about, I was like, man, like those are 3 things that I would have picked, and totally agreed with you on these. But before we get into those, I'm going to hit you with a couple would you rathers, and then I will finish the would you rathers here later in the show. So first one, would you rather find one 71-inch shed for the year or kill 3 turkeys?
3 turkeys. Yeah.
Really, man.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have to put like a mileage, like you put in 25 miles and found 1-inch shed. I could have swore you were going to go with the shed.
Yeah. I mean, one shed, I'd rather kill 3 turkeys.
Shoot a 140 with sheds from last year or a 155 with no history?
155. Yeah.
And last one here for the beginning, high fence or public?
Public.
Right.
Depends on if I haven't killed anything for about 8 years. Hit me again.
Yeah. How much did I get my ass kicked last year? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What time of the year are we talking, like?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it August or September?
Yeah. Is it like high fence velvet? Yeah, I'm in. I don't know.
There we go.
I don't know if I could ever do that or not. I've never, not to knock high fence, I've never hunted it. Some people say you got to wait them out, but our losing leases and losing grounds, like devastating to most people. And that's kind of like our normal now. It's weird. And I think like the shed answer, it's so easy for me. I'm getting less emotionally attached every year, because you start figuring deer out and then you lose the ground and you're like, well, time to move on, or the deer gets killed and, you put all the work in. So right now I'm real game for random 150s for a while until, I got one deer in mind. And other than that, but let me tell you what, if I'm back in there hunting that deer and a real solid one comes by and I can be like, oh, I'm going to pass him. No, I'm going to drag that sucker out there and then go back in there in a week and try to kill the other one.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I would say
That's where I'm at right now.
I think a lot of listeners and a lot of viewers that follow us were kind of really invested into Magnum, which, I mean, we were too. We spent, a whole year chasing him. And then when we found out that he ended up getting shot on the last day, I think a lot of people that followed us were like more upset than we were. We had the initial shock of it, but, we just had that attitude like, okay, on to the next one. Here we go, and a lot of people are like, oh, man. I'm pretty tore up about it and, felt bad for us because they're like, we put so much time and effort into trying to get on him. And then it's probably
I
just
think the
scratching
real
their
kicker
head.
last year was when we started putting the work in on that other giant.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got killed 3.5 miles away.
Yeah.
At that point, I was just like, you can put work in on him and try to do the right thing, but you just can't dedicate yourself to something because something like that. I mean, imagine if Magnum was killed 3.5 miles away. You'd be like, that would be way worse. You'd be like, God, some dude just went out random. Like,
yeah.
But that could happen to like any deer that ever, walks around.
Easily.
It's just part of the game. So
yeah,
I'm getting less emotionally attached, and I like running cameras, but I'm not going to set up a lot of cameras for certain bucks this year. I'm just going to set them up where the good shit is, and the only cameras I want to set up for random bucks are the PT. That's the only one. Physical therapy, that's what I need on my hand. But yeah, that's what I'm going to need after hunting that deer. His name was something else, but I'm just going to call him physical therapy from now on because I'm assuming the 2 weeks in the dungeon trying to kill him is going to be absolutely brutal. I'm going to need some physical therapy after hunting him that long. But
so this first topic here that we'll get into is something that we really put, first, I believe, last year. We really went off of it, and we kind of started building that off of chasing Magnum. So kind of go ahead and get into this first topic.
Yeah, so the first topic I want to cover is I like to call it no cute shit, but it's no bullshit sets. I kept saying no cute shit, and I don't think people understood. In my mind, that's what it is. Like, but it's no bullshit sets. Back in the past, you get all this data on trail cams, and you're looking at these deer, and you really want to kill one deer, and you're looking at the shit from 3 years ago, and he was over here on this ridge, and there's a doe baiting over here. You're trying to connect dots on a map that really aren't there. You have no clue what that deer is doing, and we've seen it. I think running so many trail cameras, we've learned that these deer, they don't do the same shit every year. Like, you hear people say that, and I feel like that's on like real good managed farms where, okay, this is where he comes through and hits this doe bedding. I feel like when you're on high pressure or shittier ground where a lot of bucks die, like the deer just do random shit all the time you can't understand why they're doing it or what they're doing for. Just, we got a giant picture of a deer here. Like the giant last year, I have no idea why he was in that timber so much. Makes no sense to me. And I was thinking about that the other day. That was a 170 class deer with flyers and a drop tine and a lot of shit going on. Where was that deer the past 3 years? That deer just showed up out of nowhere, and more than likely he showed up from where he got killed is what I'm thinking. That's probably his area, and he was on an excursion up here, and that makes sense why we never had him. We had him, and then he went back there, but I don't know, really, to be honest with you. But no bullshit sets is just literally hunting where you have the best odds to kill a buck. And that seems simple as hell, but you get caught up in all these decisions, and especially chasing the same buck. You try to start making shit up like, he might do this because he did this. And we got a trail cam picture from over there. This is the way he might work the land. Like, you have no idea what that guy did. He swam across a lake and he's somewhere else, and you're just shooting in the dark. And, but if you got a trail camera that's hot, or you got an area that's hot sign, or you got an area where you're seeing bucks, go there and hunt. Like, sometimes you got to say, I think people get so tied up in trying to be right about a deer and like beat him that way instead of just hunting and beating the deer. You know what I mean? Like being in the right place at the right time. They're trying to force it to happen when a lot of these deer, like Pickles, you can force that to happen. Like he was there, he's patterned, he's daylight, he was in that area. Magnum, you couldn't force that to happen. You just had to go in there and wing it. And we got tied up on him doing some bullshit sets, like stuff that wasn't very good. We knew he wasn't there. Like, but in your mind, you're telling yourself, oh yeah, this is where I need to be, but it's not. And I hope that's explained good enough for the listeners to understand. Just stop trying to be cute and figure these deer out 100% and go where you have the best sign and best deer activity, and not thinking about where the deer will be. Go where the deer are. Like, and that's what we were doing a couple years ago. We're always trying to go where the deer will be, and you're not playing very good odds when you're doing that. But if you know, man, it's been hot over here, and more than likely, if it's been hot for one buck, there's a pretty damn good chance there's a reason that deer's in there being hot. So if there's a hot doe over there, especially in the rut, there's a real good chance, okay, you know there's a hot doe in there. It's 300-400 yards from where you think your buck could be. You probably need to be over there where it's hot, because he's going to be over there. And that's what happened with Magnum. He got killed way out of what we thought his zone was, or, you know, the line of his area. But more than likely, his area was more that way anyways, after we kind of break down our data. And we kind of think that the pressure of us and the private pushed him that way a little bit, you know? So it's hard to know, but no bullshit sets. Go where the deer are. Don't be silly. Don't be cute. Try to will stuff to happen. Just that's like our mentality last year was just, we just want to kill nice bucks. So it's easier to do that when you're wanting to kill nice bucks, you know, instead of targeting an exact deer.
Yeah. And
you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, just like you said there, you know, I think the managed farm, you can get, you know, a routine and a pattern. The probability of that is higher. Just like
a yearly pattern, even, you know, I mean, like a yearly pattern.
You know, like he's going to show up after October 25th. Never been here before then. You know, October 25th, boom, and then he's in here until the rut's over. Shit like that. Just like you said there, you know, if you're bebopping around on public or you got some small private, not probably going to be able to lock him down. And if you are going to where the deer are, not only is your probability of seeing the buck that you want to kill or a shooter, but you're going to have a better quality hunt. You're going to be able to see more deer because you're where the deer are. And you're not trying to surgically remove one deer where you think he is.
Yeah, and there's times to be surgical. Like Pickles was a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Freeze was a great example. We knew there was only 2 spots we could kill that deer. Like, if you know that, then that's different. But if you're not 100% sure on those areas, or even like most of the time we ain't even 25% sure. You know, we're just throwing a dart on the board and being like, well, this is kind of in his area. You know, he's been over here. He's trail cambered here. Let's get in there and see what happens.
Yeah, very rarely are we well, I say that, but, you know, in like an interview or something, like we'll try to name off like 3 bucks because the probability of these 3 bucks coming by are very high. The probability of one of them coming by is not as high as one of the 3 coming by. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I said that right, but you know, you just can't pin one down on a small piece of private like that, you know, on a little 40 or on heavily pressured public.
I just feel like a lot of the people that create content, they're on a bigger piece of ground and they're promoting certain content about bucks doing certain things. When you go to what we're hunting, they don't do that shit. They're different, you know, and we say that and people are like, oh yeah, it's not that they're harder to kill. It's just, you have to hunt them different. They're not like spiritual ninja deer out there. They're just different than like regular ag. Like our Watauga piece, we hunt that way different than we hunt our public piece. The lease, we hunt way different than we hunt kings. Like it's just, there's no cookie cutter answer to anything deer hunting. You just have to figure out how you got to hunt those deer. And that's how we got to hunt the deer that we hunt. We got to go where the bucks are, because your buck hasn't trail cambered there yet, or you haven't seen your buck there, but damn, there's a lot of deer in that area. You're seeing, bucks on trail camera. When you're hunting there, you're seeing bucks. There's a good chance your buck's going to be there too.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
And just like you're talking about our deer, like only 2 bucks are getting shot off this place a year from everybody. Like,
yeah.
So, I agree with the no bullshit sets. Like I was big on that last year. I'm glad we're getting off of the cute
shit. Think I had, with the bucks that we killed and the hunts, I think we had 9 hunts that we either killed on or were within an hour of killing by trail camera.
Yeah.
And you're missed a couple missed encounters where, the Watauga buck and the late season buck, 9 hunts out of the total year where we either killed, had a missed opportunity, or were within an hour of killing that deer, just that buffer of daylight, and you take about how many times you hunt a year, we're probably batting like 20%, with being in that, having an opportunity, killing, or being, in that range of right on the damn edge. And 20% is pretty damn good. I think. Yeah.
And hunting, I'm definitely going to take 20%, one out of 5. Like, I'll take them odds. And just what you're saying there is kind of just rolls into the next topic here of confidence in yourself and your spot, and having that confidence in your spot when you're going in is it takes your shit to another level on your way in. Like your mind is so focused going in on different shit, and kind of elaborate on that like you wanted to.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people talk about, being confident in your area. But I want to take it a step further. You got to be confident in yourself. You got to be confident in your gear. I was thinking, like, when we went in and killed the buck on October 8th, like, we were laughing, we're confident. We kind of knew where we were going. We were confident in this lay of the land. We were confident that we had a destination already picked out. We might change it. We're going to get some confirmation to make us more confident on the trail camera on the way in. You're just stacking the odds in your favor on the way in. You're more relaxed. You're confident in your area, so you're thinking you're going to have a good hunt. You're not thinking, man, this is going to be a giant waste of time. You're ready to kill, and it's easier to make that decision of, okay, I am going to kill, because I kind of went in there like, I'm killing a doe, so I'm real confident I'm going to have a shot at something. And when you stack the odds in your favor from the truck, like even the interview, we're like laughing, it's hot. We're like, we're going to go in here and put a hunt in a good area, even though it's hot as hell out. We're in t-shirts. But we're real confident in our gear, confident in our bows. We set up smooth as hell, down from where this buck's bedded. We know where the deer are bedded, so we're confident that the wind is right. That's a huge key, because a lot of times when we go into our public land, it's hard to be confident in the wind, because you're going into a new spot. You don't know where the hell the deer are bedding. Like when we were hunting on the South Public a couple years ago, it was hard to be confident in any spot because we didn't have the intel of the area to understand what the hell the deer were doing. So like PT, physical therapy buck, I'm way more confident this year than I am 2 years ago or last year, because I went in there and I was like, oh shit, here's a bunch of acorns. Oh shit, here's a giant scrape. Oh shit, I can access this way. Like, you get more and more confident because you understand the ground more. And all it takes is going out there and walking it. And when me and you went in there and tried to hunt that one time and just backed out because we couldn't find an area to hunt. We could have done half the work if we would have just scouted before, went in there, looped around all that shit, and been in the zone, confident as hell, because we know what we're doing. We're not just out there screwing around trying to will it to happen. We have a plan, and that plan starts from the year before of you trying to figure out what the hell you're doing to make yourself confident. And then having confidence in your spot, that just helps you in the long run to be able to kill. You go in there, you're thinking it's going to be a bullshit hunt. You're not confident in your area. You're on your phone. You're not paying attention. You're standing up and down too much. You're not really thinking about your movement and then you get busted by a doe, and that doe's got a giant behind her. Like, we've been there, you know what I mean? Or I got busted by West Side. Just wasn't. It was early in the morning. I wasn't super confident. We hadn't seen shit. I wasn't in the zone. And then you make a mental error because you're not in the I'm going to kill shit mode, and it's hard to push yourself to be in that mode if you're not confident in what you got going on. And then the confidence with your gear, like if you're loud with your stand, like there's nothing worse than banging a stick. Your confidence level is half what it was when you make a bunch of noise, or it takes you twice as long to hang up and you're all sweaty and you're pissed off. Like, you could ruin a hunt pretty quick by not being confident in your gear. And a lot of people think, well, I could shoot my bow, I get it out 2 months earlier and I can shoot it. But yeah, can you shoot it lean down, angled out, trying to get around a bush, or shoot it in between a crotch of a tree like I had last year? Like, can you make that shit happen? Are you confident enough? Or are you going to miss those opportunities because you're not confident enough to take the shot, and you're going to let the deer go by, and then you look back, shit, I should have made it happen. Should have been more confident. When it's me, I'm like, all right, this is it. I'm always like, you ready? Yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm going to send something in there because I'm confident. And it hasn't burned me yet. Like, being confident and making shots happen, that hasn't burned me yet. But if you're not confident in your gear, you're not confident in yourself, you can make the shot. You're not going to take those on the edge, like tight or quick shots. You're just going to let them go by because you're not confident enough to make those quick decisions. And my first buck this year had all the time in the world. Like, that was hella time, but the second buck had about 3 yards, like it's either shoot him there or don't shoot this deer at all, and he's going to wind you. Like, you got to make sure. And he even come in like where I was like, you're like, he's coming. I'm like, I can't see him at all. And I'm like, oh shit, he's right there, like boom, out of the shit. So we got to get a lane back there. Like,
yeah,
solid.
definitely need to shoot right where he was and about 10 yards back from that too.
Yeah. And then, it goes back to the confidence thing. We didn't know shit about that property. Not really. But now, how much more confident are we going to be knowing that we got shooting lanes in that area, we got cover in that tree, we kind of know how the deer are going to be working in, what direction to be looking, and it's because we scouted it, we seen some deer do some shit on there, and now the confidence level is 10 times what was last year, because if an opportunity does happen, you got all those boxes checked to make yourself more confident. Okay, I got a shooting lane. Okay, I got cover to be able to draw my bow. Okay, I got good access. Like, your confidence is going up every little check marks you make, instead of us going in there and kind of hanging on a bullshit right on top of a scrape, like, but if it's your first time in on a property, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's going to take a minute to really dial it in.
But I wasn't hella confident the night that I killed my deer. Like, we were going to see some shit. I was like, it's supposed to rain on us. It wasn't really that cold. I'm like, we got a chance, but I'm not like, I'm going to kill shit tonight. It was just like, we're in here. And then people texting us, telling that our setup was trash didn't help at all either. But, I don't know.
I had a little mojo going in there. I was feeling it. I mean, I just love that time of the year. Like, I mean, that's just.
Yeah, I love that property.
And I love the rain.
Property to hunt. Yeah, I love that property. It's just so easy to hunt.
Yeah.
Like, it's just. The access is so easy. Like, Yeah.
You know, when you get a deer on the cart on the paved road, like
you're
set to
dragging a
cruise
deer out
control and forget about it.
paved road. I'm like, we can do this every year and I'll be legit.
Yeah.
So
Going back to, the confidence in yourself and, really getting that mindset going into the hunt. One thing that I think's really helped us is when we started filming and trying to produce an episode or a show or a hunt the way that we wanted to, like we started filming at the truck, and we always tell ourselves when we're filming, you have to act like you're going to go in there and kill. And from that point on, you just get that mindset of like, okay, like I'm going in to get it done. And I think it's taken 3-4 years to kind of get to where we are now, but I think that when we started doing that, like that has really helped us get that confidence going and really like picking where you want to go to make sure that you have the best odds to get it done.
Yeah, I think that it helps us because you talk it out, and that's something that if you have a hunting buddy, when you're driving there, you ought to be talking the hunt out, like playing it through your mind. How you're going to approach, where you're going to hang, what's the plan. With us, like we have a system, but I mean, who's going to hang their stand first? Or, if you're hunting doubles, like who's going to work the sticks? Who's going to hang? What side does the shooter need to be on? Like you got to plan that shit out in advance. And there's nothing worse than getting up there and being in the wrong spot. It just, we've done it, where I'm like, man, I should probably be where you are. You should probably be where I am. but I don't think we've ever created any interview or anything from shooting a buck. I think we've got the shit where, and a lot of people don't know that happens in the industry. Like half the shit you see is, if you watch the details, it's reshoots, and they're doing that because it's entertainment, and they're trying to add value to the show, and these reshoots are going to help. And I love it when they do a time lapse of a camp, and then the day there's hella snow, and then it's nighttime and there's no snow. So I'm like, perfect. Or they're going out hunting in their corn and there's no snow in the corn, and then they got some shit clips with snow in the corn. I'm like, come on, guys. They got some slider shots, of snow in the corn, like the deer tracks and stuff. I'm like, there's no snow. Like it melted. It melted in 8 minutes when I got in the blind. But a lot of people don't notice that. I notice it now just because it's when you're looking at all the details, and it's kind of ruined a lot of the stuff because I'm always like, that's fake as hell. That's fake as hell. I always tell my wife, I'm like, well, that's not even the same truck. That's the best. That's not even the same truck they rode out in. I see the Chevy emblem on the dash, bro. That was a sponsored ad truck right there. And now they're getting their shit out of the back of the outfitter's truck, and it's a Ford.
So last major topic here, and it's something that when I was growing up, I get attached to a spot, and because it's always done you right, and then next thing you know, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, been 3 years, and it just ain't what it used to be. So kind of go into this last one here.
Yeah, I think this is like the number one thing that I learned in the last 5 years of not being on a good property ground is you can't get attached to an area. You got to know when to scratch it off the list. Not completely, but don't have that bitch underlined. You know what I mean? Like say, okay, this is decent, but I'm going to try to do something else. And I feel like you get into a routine where, especially if you're chasing a buck, and this really comes into play, chasing a certain buck, this really comes into play on public. There's so many things that you have zero control over on that ground. And you got good trail camera data over the first year. Shit's looking good. You have some decent encounters. And you're all jacked up about an area. But then at the end of the year, or like us, 2 or 3 years later, you look back at the encounters that you had, and it just wasn't that good. And the deer were literally painting the picture of what you needed to do and you needed to get out of that shit in the hot corner. But you just did. You were so dead set on your spot because this is where it's going to happen. This is the spot that you picked in your mind, and you want to beat these deer in your mind. You want to be, you want to one-up them. That's the game that we're playing. And you're so dead set on, I picked this spot. It looks so good. There's hella sign. Well, it's all at night, but you don't know. Or, man, it's just really thick, but there's no doe's bed in there. Or it just is so far away from anybody else, and it looks really good. But the deer aren't there. And that's kind of what we got stuck into. You get into a spot, incredibly hard to access. One of the hardest access spots I've ever hunted in my whole entire life. And you literally kill yourself to get back there. You have a shit hunt. You kill yourself back there. You have a shit hunt. You're like, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is the spot. And then you have one good hunt. You have one good hunt, one day. And that one day out of the last 12 puts something in your brain that says, I was right. I'm the man. This is the spot, and we're going to kill here. But in actuality, you had a hot doe come through and pulled some shit over there, and you had a really good hunt. And I'm not saying that's going to happen every time, but then the years go by, and you're like, man, this, we seen 3-shooter bucks that day, or 4-shooter bucks, and this is the shit. But you got to believe but verify. And you can only verify so many times. You can believe in the spot, have confidence in the spot, but if you're going in there, and like I said, I think it really comes down, at least I don't want to say this for everybody, but it's for me. It's the pride of you want to be right. You want to be right about this spot. This is it. I put the work in. I scouted. You want to be right about this spot. But the spot's shit, and you're not a man enough to say, I'm not right about this shit. I need to replan and redo it. And maybe some people don't have that problem. But for me, I get emotionally attached to areas, basically, that look really good, and you have a couple good hunts in there. But you add up the amount of times we went to the back and hunted compared to the amount of bucks we seen, like per day shooters, it's not very damn good.
No.
When we couldn't hunt back there, really good, but shit changes when more pressure gets there. And that's what happened. People start pressuring more. They kill a lot of does. And it's hard for you to know. You can't control what's going on out there. So you have no idea what me and you are two different hunters. You could have shot 6 does off that property. I don't know. I'm going in there because this has been loaded with does, and it's November 5th, and I'm going in there to hunt. You go in there, you have a hunt. You don't see any does. You're like, okay, that's weird, Then you have another hunt. You don't see any does. Oh, okay. And then you have one hunt where you see 1 or 2 does. You're like, oh yeah, they're still in here. They're still in here. Then you have another hunt where you don't see shit. You're trying to make your mind believe that it's a good spot when actuality it's been trashed by someone else, or the neighbor put a giant food plot in and he's pulling a lot of deer now, or some stuff you have no control over. And I feel like this happens to a lot of people. They get stuck on that fence line. Well, this fence line's been good the past 5 years. I've killed 3 bucks the past 5 years. I'm just going to wait it out. And then they go on a 4-year dry spell where they don't kill anything. And they're wondering what the hell happened, why they're not killing anything. And what's happened is you start blaming other people or other things. Wow, this guy's pressuring the deer and it's going to happen, or this guy's killing the deer and that's going to happen. But the spot's just shit now. No matter what happened to it, the spot's no good. So you need to move on, get out of that area before someone else kills the buck that you're after. And that's what happened to us. We got emotionally attached with the area. If you took a guy back there and showed him that area, showed him the access, like when I showed you, I mean, it's just something that just looks amazing. It just looks so cool. I mean, it's not stuff that we're used to hunting. It's weird. Really good shooting there. I think that was a draw too. Trees that we could get into, that was a draw. The ease of, where we were hunting was a draw. Not like the access, but compared to other spots. But even the bucks that we seen, they were painting the picture for where we needed to go. They literally all went to the exact same damn spot. And we even said it out loud. And still we didn't want to lose faith that we were wrong and this wasn't going to be the spot. And hanging all the sticks back there and moving all the cams back there. If we would have took that time, 350 yards, we would not only had a chance to kill our buck, we would also had a chance to kill a lot of other bucks that were never going to be up there, and that's all it takes sometimes is 350 yards. 200 yards. And then also knowing when to scratch an area, don't be there's nothing out of the realm for a whitetail to do in an area. Giant steep ass hill, dude might climb right up that. Swim across the lake, dude might cut the edge of this and swim across this lake, or it might be shallow enough he's just wading across it. Going 1.5 miles, 2 miles to ag every night, going 1.5 miles, 2 miles to hit a scrape. Don't put that block in your head that these deer aren't bedding in 8 different spots throughout. Don't put that in your head that dude's got, okay, I know where he's feeding. I know where one of his beds are. I'm on high pressure ground. Don't get in that block of this is what this deer's doing. Because one guy throwing a wrench and setting in between you, that deer is bedding in a different spot. He's going to be feeding in a different spot. He's going to be accessing the field in a different spot. It's a way different game. And then you get a buck like Pickles that literally is everything that any other hunter on private ground talks about. Deer's bedding in one spot, feeding in another spot. He comes in there in the morning. He leaves in the evening. He's a textbook deer. And then you kill him. It's just easy, it's an easy one. Or the Watauga, the scrape's on fire. We're going to hit this. Oh, he's hitting the scrape. Let's go in there and kill him. And boom, we kill him. Go into that scrape. There's easy ones, and then there's absolutely hard ones. And I feel like you make it harder on yourself because you get so tied up in wanting to be right about an area, or at least me. I don't want to say everybody, but you don't want to move this stand because it's been damn good. It's set up perfect. It's easy to get to, but it's not in the right spot. And you waste 15 hunts there, and then you decide, man, just think of all the energy we would have had if we didn't bike in and pack in and have shitty stands that were hanging. We didn't have really lightweight shit and taking food in and all the camera gear. And if we just would have been all right, we're good. The deer are all going west. Let's just go west.
Maybe we should go west.
Yeah, but the trail cams were really, really messing with our mind. That nighttime trail cam data and shit that we were getting was really, oh yeah, he's in the area. He's just not daylighting yet. He's not daylighting where you're at.
Yeah.
And it just
one thing I want to add to it is just listen to your fucking gut. Because it's where you need to be. And, after the third hunt, if you're trying to talk yourself into going back to that spot, that's when you need to be.
Yeah.
That's when you need to be okay. I'm all cool with, going into the spot first time, giving another shot the second time. But that third time, you're okay, this is either make or break, or you're talking yourself into it and you shouldn't even be going there and you need to be going into a new spot. And then that's what I would call a bullshit set. If you ended up talking yourself into it, that's bullshit set. You're not even in the mind frame.
You're trying to make shit up to get back in that spot.
Yeah.
That's when you got to set yourself up and say, classic. Oh man, it's going to be 10 degrees colder tomorrow. Or, oh, there's a front coming in 2 days. Yeah, maybe that's what it's going to take. But you got to have some signs of life to get yourself back in there. And I feel like that's what we were doing. We were like, oh, it's cold as hell. Now they're going to be moving. Well, not really, but can you kill? You can still kill. That's why I said you got a white-tailed deer. Just scratch off everything that you think he's going to do and just add a bunch of question marks, because he could show up anywhere at any time. Like I said, 3.5 miles away, 23 hours after we got a trail cam picture of him?
Yeah.
Get a trail cam picture of him. Oh, he's still in the area.
No, it was 12. Later, it was 13. Did you say 13?
13 hours. Yeah, 13 hours. Yeah, because we had him that
morning at like 3:30.
Yeah, and then he got killed that evening.
Yeah.
So, he's in there bedded, or he's in there with the doe. No, he's actually 3.5 miles away.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
So,
go ahead and bike in, though. That's great.
Yeah, go ahead and bike in, and go ahead and haul your ass back there. And you haven't seen deer back here at all. You've seen two does, the same two does, coming off the same bridge every day. You're like, now there's going to be something back here. I'm feeling pretty, but.
That night I did see crisscross, but.
Yeah. Well, you were in a different spot. If you were up on top, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think you would have been on.
No, hell no.
Crisscross. But the thing is after saying all that, don't completely scratch that spot out, off the list forever. Maybe you pressuring it changed it, and you give it some time and go back in there. Maybe it's good again. But don't let one good hunt in one area dictate how you're going to plan your season. That's what comes down to it. And that's kind of what we did. We had really good hunt, and we kind of kept we kept playing the same poker hand over and over, hoping that the guy was going to have something, not as good. And every time he had something better. It's like, I got the same hand, bro. I'm coming at you.
Yeah. One thing that I've been doing here the last couple of years is, if you find a spot and you want it to be good, but it's just not good, is just like Cody said, don't forget about it. But like, I'll take, just one day a month. So one day in October, one day in November, one day in December, and just go in there and see what it looks like. See if shit's changing. See if it's, if there's sign of life in there, and then just go off of that. Like, don't completely waste it, because shit pops up here and there all the time. So
yeah, where you killed Pickles,
yeah,
we knew that deer was in there, but we planned on being in that sucker in the rut, something fierce.
Mm-hmm.
We run cameras there and went in there and scouted. Nothing. If we'd have been like, they were here last year, the sign was here last year, it's gonna show up. Like on big pieces of private ground, I feel like you can do that shit. But on small chunks, stuff that's high pressured or public land, you cannot do that. What is there is what's dictating how you hunt. You can't look at past knowledge of bucks is about the only thing that you can use. You have to verify that deer is still there.
Yeah.
And still using that area the same way, and something else has to change. And that's where we've been messing up, because we want to hunt it like public land or private land in the past, but you just can't. You gotta hunt it like it's your first hunt every time until you verify what's going on. You go in there and we hang a cam on Pickles. Yeah, he's there. Oh, he's there. Okay, that's good. We verified that. Let's go ahead and kill him.
Yeah.
Kill him. But the year that we got our ass kicked, we're going into places we're just making shit up. Well, they can pinch around this pond. If they're going to come this area, they're going to pinch down this bridge. Let's just hang up here. Like, there's better options than you got than that. You just got to play them out, and you have to work to make it happen, but you can't, sometimes you just can't will it to happen that way. We say will it to happen or make it happen, but that's just put enough sits in where some shit, comes together. And sometimes that's how we kill shit.
Yeah, sometimes that's yeah.
Yeah, but that's how everybody kills shit. You know what I mean? But like I said, after saying all that, I don't want to scratch. I don't want people to be like, well, I ain't been good, and then they scratch an area that is good. You just verify it. Don't just keep going back if it's bad. Verify what you got going on, and then go from there.
That's great advice, and all three of these points here, like when I was trying to come up with my talking points, I was like, man, dude, those are like the three that I would pick and want to talk about, because those are really becoming part of stuff that I really believe in and trying to like base my system around here. So
it's not only going to make you better on public, but if you put this shit on private land, if you get a good piece of private land like we had back in the day, and we use this shit that we got, we would smash, bro. If we had Tina's now, my God, we would destroy that place. It wouldn't even be fair. Like, honestly, like the amount of shit I knew back then compared to what I know now, and having to hunt public and little small shit pieces, to have that piece now, it would be devastating to the deer herd, because I mean, I did good there, and I knew a quarter of the shit that I know now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, finish up here with these few would you rathers. A 180 and nothing for 2 years, or 3 135s for 3 years?
A certain 180 or a random 180?
Just a 180 and then nothing for 2 years.
2 years. 135.
3 135s.
If it's a certain 180, I'll take that. If it's just a random 180, I'll take the 135.
Look at this guy emotionally attached. Just gave you a whole podcast. Don't get fucking emotionally attached. Here we are. Yeah, it's one.
You can't not do it. Like, I'm emotionally attached to bucks. Like, that's just part of the game.
It is.
I just need to work on not getting emotionally attached when I'm wrong. Like, you just got to say, I was wrong. Like, and it's not that I'm cocky, because you're literally not proving it to anybody but yourself out there. You put so much work in into thinking that this is the right spot. And you go back to all those sweaty ass summer walks that you did scouting and the trail cam data, and you're like, I know this is it. I know it. All the work I did, this is it. But another day of scouting, then you're going to be like, oh, shit, maybe this isn't it. That's all you got to do is, and then it goes back to that ditch, dude. If we would have went 150 yards, would have been a game changer. We not only would have been on that deer, we would have been on Magnum. Like, we would have been, like, it's just like 150 yards, and we would have seen that spot and been like, whoa, acorn, we can't find acorns anywhere on this place. Hell, acorns on the ridge.
Early October.
Got the giant scrape. You got a water source. They're bedding on this ridge. Like, they're going bed to food. Like, it's all playing out to that spot. And it might be bullshit. You put a couple hunts in there and you run the cameras back there. I'm not going to go back in there and hunt if it's bullshit. I got to find a new spot. But I got high hopes in that spot, but I can't get emotionally attached and be like, I'm going in this. He ain't been here, but he's going to be here. I'm going in this spot for 2 weeks, because he might show up, but I might also be able to go back in there and, like, in that bowl of the cattails, get up in there and, oh shit, it's really good here. And you waste all your hunts up there trying to make shit happen when it's happening down there, and you just step in the shit. I'd rather step in shit than out there making it happen all the time. I need a couple years for that.
Target a 145 with 6 years of history, or a new booner?
New booner. Yeah.
Gun or bow?
Where am I at?
I thought you were gonna say whatever's killing.
Yeah, whatever. If I got tags left and it's gun season, gun. But I like to kill them with a bow. But man, I'll kill them whatever it takes. Missouri, I want a gun though. That
Yeah.
shit's
Age
a
or
rifle.
inches?
What's that?
Age or inches?
Inches.
Best day to be in the woods?
Probably 7th of November, 9th of November,
Okay.
day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid one.
That's
a sleeper one. If I calculated the amount of giants I seen or had on trail camera the weekend of Thanksgiving compared to any other time of the year, that would probably be the highest odds out of any time I've ever hunted.
I 100% agree with that. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah. There's something about this area and that weekend. It's like, I just don't know if there's like people got a lot of shit going on and there's not very many people out there hunting, or it's normally cold. It seems to always be cold around that time of the year, nice, weather, and there's still a couple does and those bucks are still hitting scrapes. Like there's a lot of shit that's at the end that can really play into making it magical that time of year.
Yeah, and I also think, the gun season was just a weekend before, gun hunters out, maybe did a little bit of pushing, not much until second season, but, did something, got the herd stirred up enough so they're like, oh, man, they're just coming in and bedding down.
Yeah. And then I think a lot of people are like, wow, gun season's here, it's ruined now, and they're just not hunting when they're missing out on one of the best weekends of the year. So.
So you kind of covered some things that you thought I've improved on in the last 4 years, and I've been scratching my head trying to think, and I can't, since I feel like I'm below you or behind you as a hunter, I don't think I can tell you things that you've improved on, but I can tell you things that I look at you hunting-wise and wish that I was more like. And I'm going to name some of these. It's like your determination to be successful, regardless of what the goal is, but you're determined to accomplish that goal that you set. You looking at failures as an opportunity to learn. We have a lot of those, and and that's one thing that it makes you better.
Yeah.
You're never satisfied.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Just like I always say on here, you always want that one extra ridge, and half the time it's over half the time it's shit that needs to be done, and you already said it, whatever it takes, and sometimes that's what it takes, man. One thing that you are improving on is we basically covered it here in this podcast, is you're working on overthinking shit. We talked about this last week after the podcast. You are always thinking of small instances and encounters and how we could have done differently to be in a better position. Eliminating those dumbass moments. Just like I talked about just like I talked about in the podcast, my podcast, us checking that trail camera on West Side, you getting busted by West Side. Just when you were talking about that there earlier, I was like, that deer has really taught us a lot.
Yeah,
that deer has absolutely taught us a lot.
He taught us that was one of the first deer where we were like, man, these deer just are doing weird shit out here, bro. They're here, then they're not here, and then they come back, and like, it's just like, and that just goes back to, you're just like, okay, this is a non-killable deer. I'm not gonna say he's non-killable, but he's, if you're looking at a roulette board, that sucker's 00. Like he's up there. It's gonna be rewarding when you hit that son of a gun.
Yeah.
But, I'd rather play the black or red every day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just eliminating those dumbass moments, doing whatever it takes, and then helping others be successful. Not scared of a no for hunting permission. And a big one here. These last two are big ones. This one here is, you stopped overlooking the bullshit spots and put effort into them. And I know you're thinking of, a little chunk of timber there. I'm thinking that as well. Also, I'm thinking of the Watauga piece.
Yeah. That was
Like,
kind of like, I was like, oh man, this was kind of shit. That's one that goes back to, I had zero confidence in that ground. I left it because it was shit. Leave it for a couple years. You go back, it's a honey hole. Shit changed.
Yeah.
Shit changes. Like the guy that hunted it all the time isn't hunting anymore. 2 or 3 years of no pressure. You have no idea that he's not hunting anymore. You go talk to him, and he says, yeah, I ain't been down there for 3 years. You go in there, and there's hella sign. You're like, okay, yeah. I'm like, there's 2 or 3 scrapes, and I put it on that scrape, and I went and pulled that cam, and I'm like, bro, we got some shit going on in here.
Yeah.
Just not even 10 acres, like 9.2 acres. You know what I mean? A lot of people be like, I ain't even gonna waste my damn time. And it lays out weird as hell. Like it's
I wish I could have audio of the phone call when you pulled that card and you're going through the videos. Triple main bean buck on here, 2 giant 8-pointers on here. I'm like, all right, like lay it out. How's the ground, laid out? You're like, all right, you walk down this road, you turn left, it's 50 yards off the road. There's a cherry tree, the scrapes right there, little open spot. Hella bedding, a lot of does. And I'm like, 50 yards after. You're like, yeah, dude, it's easy as hell.
Yeah, it's like a cut trail, 50 yards ahead.
Oh, and then the last one here is the killer's gonna kill. In the moment of truth, I know you're gonna kill.
Yeah, well, I got a good rep going on. I could screw it up at any second, and I have, but I think that's what makes you a killer is you gotta mess up so many times and then shit clicks. And like I said at the beginning, I literally think that them damn rabbit hunts when I was a kid, when you got that gun and that you see that sucker jumping through there and you got to pick your spot and your adrenaline's high, and it's just a damn rabbit. Like if you miss, I missed. Like it's not as devastating as a deer. But you put yourself in those high, intense moments where you got to make the shot. You got to make it happen, and I could I can't remember every rabbit I missed, but I remember a couple of just absolute chip shots that I just spoofed on, you know what I mean? Like when you're out there, you're like, man, I'm a dumbass. But then it helps you not be a dumbass on deer and other stuff. But turkeys with a bow, I missed a shitload of turkeys with a bow, bro. Like it just, I missed a bunch of. I've lost a couple deer with a bow, lost a couple does with a rifle. Like and you're like, damn, man. But it happens to everybody.
Shit happens,
and, yeah. But that's a mindset. I'm a killer. Like you just got to be able to kill. But yeah, I appreciate all those kind words, man. Like I said, I don't think you're less a hunter than me. I think you're actually a better hunter in your style. I'm not as good as you on your shit. Like you're way better at details and decision making, being consistent. Like that's your bread and butter right there. And I'm better at like,
I think
this shit looks good. Let's go rip it,
Yeah, I feel like you just got a really good feel. You can look at something and just feel how they're using it. Like I need to look at some shit. I need to do a couple things, and then I can once I see something, then I'm then I'm good. But you just got the feel, and then you're in the game.
Yeah, it's just I've seen deer do deer shit enough times to where you're like, okay, this is how I feel like they're gonna do it. Just like when we set up in Watauga when we set up real high.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, that buck's gonna circle around, come right back down, and he did it. I was like, damn, that's exactly what I would do. He went up in there. Where the hell is he gonna go? Like, there's nowhere for him to go. He's gonna come back, And I was just like, he's gonna go right up in there. And then you see that, and now man, if I miss my opportunity on a buck and we're set up like that, more than likely he's gonna shoot back. because he really don't have anywhere else to go. He's either going to shoot back in this low spot or he's going to be on the other ridge where we got the other stand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's his two options.
Right.
Because he's not going to go over on the neighbor's property because that guy is hunting his balls off. You know what I mean? Like, he's in there pushing deer out like crazy. So you got a really good odd that deer is coming right back. So and that's the kind of stuff that I pick up on. Like, I say something in my mind, I see it happen. I'm like, oh, okay. Then it happens again.
Bang.
Then you see it happen again, and you're like, okay, that's how they do shit. But one thing I'm not really good at is like scrape hunting is kind of newer to me. Like, really, and it's just how they access the scrapes sometimes. Just I'm like, you think that they come in this way, and damn near every time I'm wrong on how they access. And I think that has a lot to do with damn near everything that hits the scrape comes in downwind. Almost everything, if it's mature.
Yeah, I feel like they're J hooking a lot, and we're not playing the J hook.
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing too. They're coming in J hooking, and we're not.
We're in the straight part of the J. I feel like half the damn time.
And we're just catching them, when we do kill them. But
yeah,
that's definitely that's a tactic that imagine running hella mock scrapes on Tina's and being able to run mobile cams on them and set up. Like, it would have, the amount of bucks that were out there, it would have just been devastating to those deer. I'm killing them in October without scrapes off their bed, just transitioning in between if I had a scrape to stop them and like give me, a good shot, like hell yeah. But I didn't have that in my bag of tricks,
Right.
So main thing is for both of us is we're learning, we're able to understand that it's okay to be wrong. And I think that helps. I think being a dad is what helped me realize that, like, when you have no one to impress in life besides your kids, like, you want them to look up to you. And other than that, I know people say this, but I could give a damn less what anybody else has got in mind for me. And then when you start thinking like that, it's you versus yourself out there. And me being stubborn as hell and being persistent and not wanting to give up is why I get stuck in those spots. Cause I'm like, not giving up on this thing. I'm just going to keep grinding. I'm just going to keep getting in there. And then you waste a whole season trying to prove yourself right on shit that wasn't good. So this year I'm out. If shit isn't good, scratching it. Coming back.
There you go.
Out later. But I think that is the game changer, and the no bullshit sets, or just the no cute shit. Like, don't try to put stuff in your mind together and put pins on a map and no, this is what this deer is going to do. You can do that, but don't dictate your whole entire hunt on that. Verify that shit. And when I wanted to mention this, because I've been thinking about this, I don't know why it just dawned on me a couple days ago. It goes back to the confidence shit. When you got something laid out and it feels right, it's probably right. But I mean, but just like the physical therapy buck, we knew where that deer was. We knew where he was going to ag. Like, we knew where he could only be bed. We knew his direction of travel. Magnum, we knew he wasn't in that area, but you just can't believe it. Like, you can't believe that this is what maybe that's me. I just can't believe that that's what that deer's doing, and most of the time it's basic shit.
Yeah.
That I struggle on the worst. It's the basic shit that is plain as day, but I got so much other stupid shit in my mind going on that I dismiss over the basic shit.
Yeah,
the shit that actually is going to kill the deer.
I would say that's just like what we were talking about for 45 minutes after the podcast last week is just, Magnum and shifted. And, well, we seen the deer come from the west, and he hasn't been on our cameras on the east. So why in the hell are we still over here hunting when we just seen him come out of there and he's not over here on cams? why didn't we go over there? And it's just goes back to, just like you said, that overlooked, dumb, basic bullshit. And it's because you want it to happen like you want it to happen, because then that would be super awesome. But the main thing is to just kill the damn thing.
Yeah.
It don't matter how.
You got to get past the I'm going to connect the dots mode and get into, well, the deer came from that direction. Maybe we should go over there. It sounds so, maybe we're the only ones that's stupid, but we just mess up on that. We've talked about shit we messed up on this podcast. I don't know how many times. And that's, I feel like us talking it out makes us better every time, and that's something we struggle with hard. Is just, it's plain as day painted there. If we just scratch out all the other bullshit, look at the hard facts that we have.
Yeah, I just need to call timeout and slow down.
Yeah. And then when you look at the hard facts, you're like, this is probably what we need to do. I mean, we have him coming out in velvet right there. Like right there. We're right on the edge. And then we got him going out there, and we got him going to the ag in like 3 or 4 different spots. So we're like, this is literally the only ag he can go to. Like, and then the snow trail is what got me, dude. That snow trail, when I went out there, I felt like the biggest dumbass in the world. I'm like, I'm thinking this dude's climbing this cliff. He's walking right down the road. Like, it's just wait till you see the cutoff trail too. I can't wait to show you how stupid we did. There's just right there.
I'm gonna feel like an idiot.
100 yards from it, just whoop, we're in.
Feel like an idiot. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
you're
man.
Gonna be like, oh yeah, it's solid. Yeah.
Hopefully, after this episode here, kind of, maybe brought some things to light for somebody to apply, and stop being cute, and it is okay to move on from a spot, and it's okay to be wrong. It's just maybe it's somebody like us that has to be told some basic shit and be like, oh, okay, yeah. I need to do that. So appreciate you coming on and talking about them things, and hopefully everybody's got a little bit better feel for you.
Yeah, appreciate all the listeners like always. We're gonna bring a couple turkey episodes, I think, just because I feel like talking about it a little bit, switching it up. And then we're going to hopefully start banging out our content for the year, getting it stockpiled for you guys. And if you're listening right now, like I always say, I really appreciate you guys, you hardcore deer hunters. Hopefully this resonated with you in some way. If not, you kind of understand our mindset a little bit and what we got going on. And hopefully, we're talking about this tactics now and some basic shit, and then we kill a giant off of what we're talking about right now. This podcast was the moment that flipped a switch for somebody or for us, So why don't you wrap it up with the saying at the end of the podcast, since you're running it? I don't know if you've ever, you've said it without me there.
Yeah. But just like Cody said, we appreciate the hell out of you guys. And remember, always try to do the right thing, leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out.